it's time for Measure Twice.
Hello, welcome to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini along with Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling. I almost put a C in there.
Yeah.
Graber Custom Remodeling.
You're mixing us together.
You did.
Yeah. Graber.
It's like blurry in here. And Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. I was going to put a C in front of that too.
Yeah.
But it won't. Leatherman Supply, everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops with a showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors and Hoosier Hardwood Floors. Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. Welcome to the dog days. Isn't that what they call this time of year? Dog days
of summer?
Yeah. It doesn't.
I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like the duck days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Little wet. And we could easily do a show on what water can do to your stuff. But I'm not going to bring that into it. But water is amazing. We've had some rain. We didn't have the hurricane, though, so we're blessed. We just got part of it.
Yeah.
The wet part.
Yeah.
That's it. But we're doing pretty good in here. This is the time of year where people are probably in the middle of a lot of their projects. Wouldn't you say? Like, I'm looking at Joel because, right?
Oh, we're in the middle of a lot of projects
all the time because that's what you do. But like people are one person at a time.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like if you've had a project, it's probably been ongoing by now, right? Wouldn't you say?
I mean, people are just starting in whenever they can at this point.
At this point, right?
Should you be time out? Like,
if you're going to try to get something done, though, what I'm getting at is that probably if you're thinking about a project now, you're really not starting it for a little while.
Correct.
You're
very, very much so.
It's probably not going to happen in the summer.
No,
because of just the way. Because and that's not been different since we've even been doing the show. That's kind of the way it goes. You're months ahead of planning is months ahead of groundbreaking, so to speak, or like
right
the first thing coming out, right, Chris? I mean, like you're on the design side. Are you months ahead also?
I think we could work projects more quickly than they can get to the project.
Oh, right.
But they are the planning part.
Are the planning part.
So, yeah, they're months.
They are, right. Same deal.
Ahead of it starting.
Yeah, because we're waiting on them.
By the way.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But that's the truth, right? Material material you have to wait for and get and process and, and get in line. Yeah. And then, there's just a big line of stuff. And that's just the nature of renovation. But what we're going to talk about today is the major renovation. Like major. Something's like happened. Chris is giving me a look like, what does major mean?
They're all major.
Major salutes the general.
No, I'm just trying to think how do you classify major? They're all major.
Well, how would you classify major?
All of them.
I don't mean important. Don't confuse the word major with important.
No, major, they're all, in the client's eyes, they're all major projects.
This is true.
So I'm waiting for your definition.
To me, major means that it's possible that you can't live in the place while you're doing it. It's possible. I'm not saying, but it's like I was thinking more of square footage or complexity.
Gotcha.
Not importance. Because you saw his face. It was almost like he was like, well,
yeah,
they're all major.
They're all pretty major when you're spending money and using your brain to do stuff, right?
And you don't have a bathroom because it's going to be remodeled.
Well, I bet that's major. That's kind of
or your kitchen,
or your kitchen.
But that's what I mean. Like, well, you're right. But what would you classify then as understanding that to the individual, it's all major? But what would you? Let's say large scale. How's that?
Okay.
Large scale. I know. I got the slow nods from both of them. By the way, just if you don't have the camera in here, but
we're on board with that.
Larger scale. Right. How would you do? I'm dying to ask this question, though, and it has nothing to do with the little bit of water I had in my basement. This has nothing to do with that. But how do you handle damage? Let's just start there, because I think when people think major, like large scale, sometimes their mind goes to the tree fell on my house type situation, which happens.
Yes,
like it's not infrequent; it's pretty frequent,
especially around here.
Yeah,
yeah.
In my opinion, on having trees close to your house is very. I don't want trees close to my house.
I
love trees.
Yeah,
but I don't want one that's capable of self pruning through my bedroom.
Yeah.
Like it's not a
people die from falling on their houses.
They're called widowmakers. I've camped. First time I ever went camping in the North Woods. But it was the North Woods. And I didn't really understand. And I put my tent, it was like near a tree, and I thought it was a great place to be. I woke up, there was a branch about 4 feet into the ground next to my tent. Like it fell from the top and like a spear.
Well, they're
that's
dangerous.
A real thing. From that day on, I moved. I was in a very clear clearing. After that.
Yep. Up there they look small until
when they
fall.
hit the ground. Oh my! Yeah. You're absolutely right, Chris. But that notwithstanding, right? Damage. When somebody has enough damage that you have to renovate, right? I'm assuming that the proper order is to stop the damage, right? Or whatever, But then what? You have to clean out.
I think the first thing you do is assess.
Yeah.
You have to kind of assess, like if a tree falls on your house, what structurally did it do to the whole property? You have to assess the roofing, and I think structurally that would be the first thing you'd need to assess.
I would think, right? If you had something that big, even major water damage, you probably have to look at the structure, right?
Yeah, you need to check it all out.
How do you? Joel. You're going to cough?
Man, sorry.
He was trying to hold
his eyes are watering.
The effort was valiant.
I'm trying here.
I watched his eyes. I thought he was going to cry.
I'm so passionate about this.
We were laughing at Joel because he was trying to answer the question before nature took its course on him. So you're not an engineer, though. We're talking about, like, you have a catastrophic damage to your home. What's the order? Well, assessment is the first order of business. Who properly assesses to move forward?
Well, that's typically, first you have to do some stopgap stuff to make sure that the house is protected from the elements, depending on what happened.
Right.
Or that it's drying out.
If it's wet, right.
Then depending on what it was, we don't really very rarely do we do any renovations that come from something catastrophic like that.
Right, because it's a rare occurrence.
Well, that, and it's just, but typically you'd have to get the insurance will come in and do an assessment. And my experience has been I did look at a project last fall where a very large tree fell on a house.
Ooh.
And it was bad enough that the assessor came in and said, we're going to have to get a structural engineer in here just to make sure that this thing didn't get shifted off its foundation.
Wow.
So it just depends on the level.
Right. That sounds like was it just what I'm picturing in my mind, like a tree and with a house that's split in two under it or something, like.
It was like, it was the one corner of a house that, but it was a very large tree, and that corner of the house was pretty well gone.
Wow. If you damage the corner of a house, how much does that do to the rest of the house? Like,
well, when I say the corner of the house, it was like 2 rooms.
Wow.
And not just
it wasn't just the corner. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm assuming a corner is super important too. Like, it's structurally, right?
For your roof is
a lot of stuff tied in there, right?
Yeah. A lot of stuff is being carried on that. So it can do a fair amount of damage.
Well, it's good at demolition.
Structurally.
You don't have to worry about getting the backhoe in there or whatever
yeah.
Trees will do it. Water will do it too, just in the worst, very worst way, because it goes everywhere. And I know you don't necessarily do that. That's why I kind of opened with like catastrophic damage, just kind of get it not out of the way, but if you have that sort of problem, there's insurance, there's stopgap, right? Do you have a big hole that I need to cover so we don't have raccoons in the house or rain
or more water,
or more water, right? And then 2, insurance, and 3, now you've got structural people coming in to make sure. So when you have catastrophic damage, it's different than saying, I just want to just change this place. A lot of this place. It's different. You're not making the decision.
It's a have to versus a want to.
Exactly. Yeah. That is its own set. And there are probably specialty organizations that help you through that process. And then eventually you might get to a Joel to come in and do whatever. But in the beginning, there's a lot of assessment. When we come back, though, when you've made the choice, what's next? That's what we'll talk about when we come back. This is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Customer Modeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential. And we're brought to you, where you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We are brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger right next to C. Kramer Interiors. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You could visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. We're talking about major renovation, not corporal renovation, sergeant renovation, major. But then we're just talking about, what did we say, large scale renovation. And that, that's a loaded term. I could see it in Chris and Joel's eyes when I said that, because Chris, you went right away to, it's pretty large scale when you're doing a bathroom and you can't use it. So that's also major and large scale. So it is subjective, a certain amount, right? When you're doing a kitchen remodel, that is large scale, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody, I guess where I wanted to position this segment is, okay, if you met with people that are like, I'm kind of changing the place, I'm changing it. So what's the plan? I'm going to change the kitchen. I'm going to change this room. I'm going to change a bunch of things. I'm sure that that's pretty common. I know people that have done that more than one. So I know 2 or 3. It's got to be at least somewhat common to have that sort of mindset. And then you had mentioned lake living off air. I'm assuming at the lake that's pretty common, because some of those houses are very, very old.
Oh.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
They fix them all up.
No, they tend to tear them down and build new.
They did. Well, you have some people, though, that'll
build around it.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a major renovation.
Yeah. So when somebody says, hey, look, I'm going to change my kitchen, these 2 bathrooms, and we're going to take this bedroom and mix it with that bedroom so there's a large one. When they start listing all that stuff, how do you approach that? Where do you say, how do you know what to do first?
You have to lay it out first. That's the first thing. You have to make sure that you get the space right, so that everything flows properly. Actually, we're doing that. Tracy's doing that right now with the client.
See, more common than you think.
And then I think they hired an architect to do it, and then we redid it. Made some changes to it to make the flow better.
Right.
So
the flow, but that seems to mean like getting the plan together. Is it going to work?
Is it going to work for you? And you catch things like, oh, you have to go through the closet to get to the laundry room. Who wants, or something,
right?
Something like that. And you're like, that doesn't make sense. So we need to rethink this and rework it so that you can. It's a master bedroom, and they put a laundry room upstairs, and so you had to walk through the closet to get to the laundry room. So we closed the closet off, made the entrance in from the bathroom into the laundry room. So basically, you're looking at the plan. In your mind, you're thinking, okay, how is this going to flow? What's the best way to work the space and make it feasible.
Try to bring some practicality into in practice.
You're always thinking of how would you use the space? How would a person use the space? What's comfortable for people to use the space?
And
and I always just try to put myself there. If I'm living there, I don't want to have to do this.
Right.
Right.
I think it's better if we did it this way. It's just easier.
So in this in this case, it's a master bathroom, bedroom.
It's a whole house remodel.
A whole house. That's pretty large.
Not just a bed. It's not just a master. It's a whole house.
Right.
Okay. All right. So then So
you work off. You have to start with the plan. You have to start with a drawing. You have to start with some concepts.
And that's pretty interesting in that when you say whole house, how do you know what to do first, or do you just attack it all at once like you were building a new house?
You would.
Well, that in that case, people are moving out, or they're not in it yet.
Yeah, right.
So you're taking it down to the structure that needs to stay, and then putting it back together from there.
And in that case,
you can move room to room in that situation because there's too many other things.
Right. Well, you're not gonna. Yeah, you can't live in a house that's to the studs, or it's not feasible. You can't live in a house that doesn't have moving water. I mean,
well, you'd probably still keep some water, but it would not be,
be rustic.
Yeah,
be very rustic. My point is that in a total reno like that, you could probably have multiple subs working. Like you might have somebody upstairs doing something and somebody's downstairs.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is you want to be able to do each phase, so all your structural stuff, all your wiring and plumbing, rough ends, insulating, all those things. You don't want guys to have to keep coming back to do different parts of it, because it gets more expensive. If they can be there, set up, and take care of that stuff, they won't charge. It's not going to cost as much, because if they have to come for one part, leave, come back, there's going to be cost that's accrued with that
you can avoid if you plan it properly.
So if you're doing a whole home renovation like that, then you're taking it down to the structure that's staying.
So it goes structure, structure, electric, plumb, in phases.
All this stuff in the walls
or moving walls or whatever you're doing.
Right. The best time to move the walls at the structural phase, right?
Yeah.
That's happening in the total. There's definitely
enlarging closets.
I would think if it's a whole home renovation, you're moving some structure.
They're basically taking an existing space and bringing it up to current standards of closet space and flow and better bathrooms. And
right. When you look at the house, it's the same on the outside. You walk in and then it's modern.
Right.
That's basically what's
exactly. I don't think they're doing much outside. It's all inside.
That's a pretty big. That's the biggest project you could do, I guess, is if you take a whole house and bring it down to its structure,
to its bones. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so you get that plan done. Then you work on the phases, and then, I mean, it's basic. It sounds like you're building a new house.
Essentially,
in that situation, it probably is more cost effective than building a new house. But
because the structure, you still have the exterior,
right? And
you have some parts and pieces in place that would be a larger cost.
And you didn't demolish anything and have to take it away, and that's an expense. I don't know,
but it's still a big expense when you think about it.
There's no question, no way around it that's a large expense.
Because you need new cabinets, plumbing fixtures, lighting.
Yeah, the only thing that you have is the structure.
Correct.
Save is a save, though, I suppose, if you're looking at and if you have something that you like on the outside and that's not broken and you can do the inside, I guess that's fine. That's cool. That's pretty big. That's even larger than I thought in my when
that's actually easier than what you were talking about, where it's, hey, we're going to do, we're in the process of one that Chris and I are have worked on together where it's master suite, office / bedroom remodel, some other stuff that gets done in spaces congruent to that. And then on the main level, there's a living room area, and it's these parts and pieces. And then you have to try to start in a specific area and then move to the next one. But sometimes there's not these great transitions.
Right.
Because, well, like we ended up starting with the master suite because that made the most sense. Well, everything had to come out of it because hardwood floors going in there. In where the bedroom part of it.
You can't have anything on the floor if you're doing the floors.
So there's another room that office is going to get hardwood floor, but it's stuffed with stuff. So we have to finish the master in order to move stuff out of there, in order to start that. It's just, so that process is more difficult to navigate than.
And they're living, and they're still in the house.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, I was up there the other day, and I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot how disruptive this would be because you basically don't have your master bedroom. You're sleeping in a guest room.
Right.
A guest room that's full of stuff, and you can basically just use the bed. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, that's part of the tuition. Yeah. Right. That's to get it done. And that's major.
Yeah.
I mean,
and so then I feel a very a burden, like I need to get this done. I mean, obviously our goal is always to the highest quality possible, but I also feel like I need to make sure that this thing keeps moving because it's obviously
disruptive.
Yeah. Right. Your bedroom is it's an important place. When we come back, we might segment that a little bit and talk about what is most important. We'll be right back. This is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential. And you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops. With the showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors and Hoosier Hardwood Floors. Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. These major projects, though, you had talked about phases if you're doing like a whole gut of a house, but these are phases too. We were last talking about a master bedroom, bathroom situation where you can't be in there. You can't sleep in your master bedroom because it's being done. You got to figure out other places. And you would think that a bedroom wouldn't be that disruptive.
The amount of stuff people put into their bedrooms, especially their master suite with the closets and cabinetry, and it's amazing.
So, but and you had mentioned something off air. It's like it's disrupting sleep. Like the low hanging fruit is if I can't use my bathroom, that's super disruptive. But
that's not that big of a deal. They have a really, really sweet bathroom up there too that I've already done.
Well, in this case, but I was saying like if you can't be in your bedroom, you'd think it's like, well, that's not a big deal. We'll just sleep here until. But you don't realize how taxing it can be not sleeping in the space that you're
comfortable
sleeping
with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially if it's been where you've slept for years.
Yep.
Right.
It changed it. Yeah.
And that's a master bedroom is a large scale renovation.
Yes.
I mean, it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It might not be so technical like a bathroom because of the plumbing and stuff like that, but it's an important space that's large and disruptive when you don't have it. I mean, there's three categories I think that constitute a major renovation to me. And it's easy to like say, well, it's just a bedroom, but it's like, well, it has its own set of disruption.
Yeah. Well, especially master, it's your personal space, and your sleep habits and all of that you're used to that space. You move into a guest bedroom and it's not the same.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk though about something that, I mean, might be a little bit more glamorous. But I think when you're taking you guys talk about let me just set this up. You always talk about on here, like going next level on rooms, like taking a space and making it like next level stuff, right? I think that's I think you guys almost exclusively, not to go back to Chris's everything is major, but you kind of stole my thunder where we were going with the show, but that's fine.
That's what he does.
That's fine.
It's that or show tunes.
That's what she said.
It's been a while since I
know we haven't heard that in a while,
not
but
for a long
he'll
time.
work it in. He'll work it in.
Yeah.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
But where was I going now? Darn it! No,
I don't know. You're all red.
Am I really?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing. You've taken bathrooms, and I know doesn't sound glamorous, but like when you take a bathroom to the next level, to me, that's a major renovation. That's a large scale renovation.
But I guess I'm thinking to myself that you take it to the next level, but that's kind of the purpose of why you're doing it, is to take it from here to here.
I agree, but I don't think everybody thinks that way. There's a lot of utilitarian type design and renovation that it's like I'm just making
it's the thought of it, like because when I talk to people, a lot of people are like, this is so dated, I just need to update it. Well, you are taking it to the next level by doing that.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right. What I'm saying is, yes.
Now you don't realize what you can do.
Right.
Well, the nugget of this show started. It was a while ago. We were talking about the what was it? It was the. Oh my goodness! It was the shower that you had a. Oh goodness! I can only picture it, but this is where the nugget of the show came. It was a shower that was like had no doors. Like you just you just went in there, and then you needed
like a wet room.
A wet room, right? That's how I was trying to think of the word. I totally lost it. Lost it. Like a wet room, and then we were talking about the steam room. Right, making it having also a steam, like they're two different bathrooms. I get it, but I was thinking, man, that's a major renovation, and that's where all that's. Yeah. I've been sitting on this for a little while because it might not be a big space, really. I mean, it might be big for a bathroom, but I mean, you compare it to a kitchen or a master bedroom, the square footage isn't there. But that's kind of like that's a big undertaking.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the other thing, I mean, lighting and play a huge role. Some of your other technology that you can incorporate into these things too can help just to really make it go to that next level.
Yeah, like I recently saw a cedar bathroom. Like it wasn't a bathroom; it was like a cedar sauna, but it was inside. Like normally, I'm used to seeing those like outside. You go out and do it.
Yeah,
this was like
absolutely.
This was inside. Very cool.
Oh yeah.
That's major.
I have plans to do one in my basement.
You're gonna do that?
I am.
Like a cedar sauna.
Yeah. Put a little shower beside it.
Pretty terrific.
Yeah.
To plan that out, you're not using that bathroom, right? It's probably relatively expensive, right? Cedar's not super cheap.
So anymore, I mean, like there are a couple of companies that you can work with that will design and prep all the parts, and then it's kind of a plug and play. I mean, you can build a custom one, but you can order basically a custom one. It's gonna it's not cheap, but it's gonna save cost because that's what they're doing all the time. So
that type of renovation, though, when you're taking like what would be like a normal quote unquote bathroom, like a shower, and then let's say it's decent in size, right?
Yeah,
and now you are gonna add something like that. Where are you looking for the extra space? Because you can't have a cedar sauna and the old shower and the old commode. Like you can't.
Well, I mean,
stuff's gotta move.
I mean, well, because Well, and Chris can tell you this too. A lot of times, in especially houses that were built in the 80s and 90s, even early 2000s, there was these huge tubs that just took up a massive amount of space, and we're getting rid of those and putting in freestanding tubs for the most part. But that would be a place that you would get some of that space, because how often does a freestanding tub actually get used?
Not very often. They're more for looks.
Yeah.
For aesthetic.
So that money could go to something that you would use a lot more often.
Right.
And that space.
Right.
Because a freestanding tub is still going to take up a fair amount of space, because you need room around it, not just the tub itself.
Right. Right. I mean, I'm sure it's similar space, right? Because you don't put them up against the wall. You know, like they're designed to.
You kind of corner them, or they're setting in space where they do take up a fair amount of space.
Yeah, they do.
The freestanding tub, I've seen them. They've come a long way with the shower aspect of them having like different fixtures.
Typically, we don't do that. I mean, people will ask for that, but
I mean the handheld is what I was talking about, where you can kind of like no.
That's on the freestanding tub.
Yeah,
that's used for cleaning purposes more than bathing.
Really,
to clean the tub.
Yeah,
to rinse it out
more often than not.
Yeah, interesting. I'm not the tub's cool. Not for me.
I mean, if I had to go, if I had the choice between freestanding tub and sauna all day.
I agree.
I'd rather have a shower than a freestanding tub.
Me too. Yeah, I'm not a.
I mean, because a lot of times we'll take out the freestanding tub and make the shower bigger.
Yeah.
Right, or have a sauna, or a whatever.
Yeah, but not have a tub at all.
Right. Mm-hmm. The sauna though, you need a specific unit, right? You can't have all that steam and you have to probably have a good fan system to get that out.
Well, we would accommodate. We take that into consideration regardless when we're doing bathrooms.
If you make the shower bigger, do you need to make the fan bigger?
Well, anymore. If we're doing a bathroom, we're typically changing that out and making sure that because the technology is so much better. You can get a much higher CFM, and it's so much quieter. You a lot of times you won't even realize it's running in it, but it's actually moving way more air than your last one.
And
then there are times, like, depending on the layout of the bathroom, you have a toilet room, so probably one in there and then one in proximity to the shower tub area.
It's pretty neat. It really has come a long way, because and some of them are hidden. The one of mine's hidden. You can't even see the fan.
I mean, I love the Bluetooth ones.
What?
They have the ones that are Bluetooth and the speakers on those can be really great.
My daughter has one. She's like, "Come in the bathroom. I want to play something for you." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Click." Not even click. It's really just tap.
Yeah.
And she's like, "That's my shower playlist."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it code now that they have to run 24/7?
What?
Fans?
No.
When we come back, let's dive into that. We'll be right back. This is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential. You're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We are brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply, everything windows, cabinets, countertops, and doors, with the showroom right now open next to C. Kramer Interiors. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You could visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. Lively conversation after that last segment on fan code.
I was just curious because I'd never heard that.
It's not
about whether a fan needs to run 24 hours.
24/7.
And this was for in a bathroom?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
Well, it depends on how much cheese they eat.
Aha.
Hi-oh.
Oh. Just got that.
Code is code, though, right? I thought.
Well, not really. I mean, there is code. There's international code, and then all codes are built off of that. but it's really state and the municipality.
Yeah.
Right.
And it can get dicey and hairy. I mean, I've got two going in LaGrange County on lakes that are just a nightmare because of all the hoops that we have to jump through. But that's
your favorite county.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple of years ago, I said I would never work there again, and I'm working.
Here we are.
But
never say never.
I know,
That's right.
exactly. But but that's municipality.
Right.
When we've got one going on a lake in Michigan, and typically, and Michigan's, like their state, the rules that they have are a lot more stringent than Indiana, but they're actually easier to work with.
Right.
But that's municipality to municipality.
How often do you need to have a major job inspected?
Well, that also depends. So we have a last phase of a project that we had going, and it's a deck. And this I actually have to have inspected as many times as I had to have the renovation inspected for the cottage.
Really?
And we basically,
for a deck?
We basically gutted the cottage. Yes.
Wow.
It's insane.
What's
Which
normal?
is making it take forever.
For you, though, what is normal then? You get the posts inspected and then
You have to have
a final inspection?
There's
I thought.
posts and final inspection. They have like 2 other inspections that I have to have based off of framing and then railing too. And I was like, well,
I thought the railing would be like the part of the last. You either got it right or you
It
didn't.
should just be, because then you're done.
Yeah, you either got it right or you didn't get it right.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Folks, if you're building a deck, there's more code than you think with a deck. There's
a decent amount of code.
There's some rules.
Yeah, the whole thing has just been like the deck itself was the hardest part.
Right.
To even get.
And you would think that'd be
permitted.
Thing.
Yeah. To even get permitted.
Really?
It was the hardest.
So you had to submit a design?
We had to submit design. We had to get letter from wastewater management. We had to get, there's some stuff. We had to have soil borings for it. We had to
for a deck?
Have a survey.
Why?
Because they can make us.
Yeah, they don't say why, do they?
Yeah,
they just say that. You have to do
give
it.
like these general
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out why.
And all these other things. And I'm like,
it's a deck.
Yeah.
Hey, where I'm from, if you're displacing native grass, you just can't build it. That's
crazy.
Where I grew up, you just can't build it. So if your deck, like outside of your house, if they find native grass,
too bad,
you can't do it, and it's your house.
See that?
That's why you see these crazy decks, because they'll build like a 2nd-story deck, because then they can prove that they're not affecting the native grass. So you'll go to a house and be like, that feels like there should be a deck there, but it's up there.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's because of that. Which I guess it's okay for erosion because it's an island and stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
That makes sense. They want to protect it.
But, you're like, is that the native grass or is that bluegrass? I don't know.
Yeah.
What is that? I don't know. But, yeah, you couldn't build on a dune. Nobody would want to do that. But
no.
You don't want to. But, yeah, there's things. Sometimes there's reasons for things.
It all aggravates me greatly. I mean, it's your stinking house. You shouldn't have to ask permission to do work on your home.
Right. Now, I think
it's also they can raise the taxes more or less.
Sometimes code though is good because it standardizes some
Having
things.
A general code is not a bad thing. I don't have an issue with that. I mean, people should understand that and the best practices that follow from that code. But to have to go and ask for permission,
it's kind of wild.
Can I do this to my house, please?
Commercially, I guess I kind of understand it, I suppose, maybe, but in residential, I'm like, geez. But if this was where I was going, was if you're doing a major, like a large scale renovation, do you have more than one, and do you have different inspectors, or is it basically the same inspector that's coming in and looking at the place?
Most places will have like a structural, like a framing inspector, but they'll also, some of them will wear multiple hats. So you have to have your plumbing and electric, your foundation, your framing, and then a finish.
Right.
Typically, some places you have to have insulation inspected
Make sure they put it in right.
to make sure it meets
warm enough
the requirement
for that area.
Well, this house only gets 3 cozies.
Yeah.
The code is 4 cozies.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So it just depends. Like a lot of times obviously your foundation has to be done before you're building on it, but then oftentimes your framing and your wiring are inspected at the same time.
Which would make sense.
Yeah, I think that would.
And and quite often it's the same person inspecting that.
How much time do they take when they inspect? I've seen it where they just kind of walk through and go, yeah, okay.
You'll have that. Typically they're looking at some specific areas.
Red flags.
Yeah. And then if they see some of that stuff, then they'll look closer. Because if you can't do the basic stuff right.
Yeah, chances are.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good point. I wanted to ask this, though. What would you consider a major deck project?
I don't know, maybe a couple of tiers, rounded. Depending on the material that you're using, different kinds of railing, stuff like that.
If you're doing like a glass railing and you have curve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
That.
You got to order that, right? I mean,
you're ordering it anyway.
Yeah.
Right. How about rounded deck? Man, that blows my mind when I see those.
I think it's cool.
It's cool.
It is cool. And we've done them. It's just that, it adds quite a bit of expense. It's not cheap to do something like that.
But you're not like bending boards.
Yes, you are. If you're doing it right, yeah. How else are you going to do it?
Yeah, you don't order them.
No, that's what I meant. I thought that you did it incrementally.
Oh, notch it?
Notched, yeah.
No.
You're like...
That would look janky.
Yeah, it would.
I don't know.
Yeah, it would.
I could show you some decks that look pretty cool where they made
maybe
it a
for
design.
I don't know. The other thing, like if you're doing a waterproof deck so that the underside can be finished and then enclosed or something, that we've done stuff like that.
That's cool.
I would say that would be more of a major deck.
Thanks for listening. This is Measure Twice.
Podcasts by Federated Media.